Hey everyone, thanks for joining us. The next episode of Red Valkyrie is about to start.
Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of Red Valkyrie. I'm your host, Shae the Red, and I am here with the amazingly awesome man from Florida Man, Todd. How are you doing, sir?
I'm doing really good. Thanks for having me. I'm excited about being here. This is awesome.
Yeah, I'm excited to have you, especially so if Cy were here, which is my co-host, who has been gone since February, this would be the perfect project because Cy is from Florida.
Oh,
And
wow.
so I literally Florida Man joked the crap out of him. And unfortunately they're missing it, but it's fine. They'll catch it on replay, it'll be fine.
It's kind of like a badge of shame, right?
You know. I mean, hey, I'm from Utah, and I get that. So it's not. We don't make headlines. We just everybody thinks that we're Amish, and that's fun to dispel over and over and over again for 35
You know
years.
what? Are there any Amish in Utah?
No,
I didn't think so.
no, they just pioneers and Amish people tend to dress similarly. So
Yeah.
we all look the same, I guess. I don't know. And the best part is I'm not even Mormon. So, hey, whatever. It all happens. It's great. Anyway, so we're here to talk all about Florida Man, and I'm just going to kick it straight over to you for your pitch, unless you want to watch the video first.
You know what? The video is a perfect pitch. I say go right to the video.
I like it. All right. We are going to watch the video.
Hey man, y'all got beer still?
You've seen the stories. Now, writer Mike Barron and artist Todd Mulrooney are bringing the quintessential Florida man, Gary Duba, to life. Gary's just a regular guy living in a trailer with his girlfriend Crystal, but he's got dreams, big dreams. He just invented house suspenders that will secure any home to the ground in rough weather. And now he's going to show them off on Piranha Pool, the TV show where venture capitalists and entrepreneurs pony up if they like your pitch. But when his gal Crystal gains notoriety as an infamous amateur wrestler, she quickly advances to the pro circuit where her greatest challenge is an angry Australian grappler. Follow Gary and Crystal on their extraordinary journey from rags to riches. To rags, to riches, to rags, to riches. All while dealing with shady lawyers, toilet snakes, wild gators, cheating hearts, feral hogs, and problem shoppers. Back Florida Man today and reserve your very own copy of the Florida Man graphic novel. We're bringing back funny books, y'all.
I love seeing you laugh. Get a kick out of that. Hopefully, you've in your life you've experienced Dukes of Hazzard. It leans kind of into that.
Yeah, it's very, very heavily seems like Dukes of Hazzard does Florida.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
So perfectly great trailer created by our project manager, Chris Brawley from Bleeding Fool.
Nice. Okay. So I had missed I don't know how. Well, I know how because I don't do the Florida Man news lines and headlines and everything in the newspaper because they make me want to smack my face. So I tend to not read them. But I had no idea. There's a dude who legit walked into a convenience store holding a gator and was like, yeah, you got beer? And it's like, what the? You don't need beer. Clearly, you've had enough.
it definitely, there are so many stories. Obviously, the idea behind Florida Man, right, is we're pulling from the reality of all this and sort of this badge of shame that gets tagged to anybody from Florida, whether they be a man or woman, that the first thing that happens in that headline is Florida Man does whatever, right? So we're leaning heavily into that. And Gary, think of it this way. Gary's the quintessential Florida Man who did all of those things. Now, granted, we can't do all those pages and all those things in 64 pages, but we're gonna do a lot of those things. They need. It's the fun of the book, really, is to sort of show you that Gary kind of has an idea and it goes awry.
Mm-hmm. This I feel like that's probably just a lot of this personality type, not even necessarily Florida men, just the personality type of people like this. Like, I know someone who has an uncle, and anytime we ever talk about like somebody who has a good idea fairy that is probably going to bankrupt them, we always refer to it as this uncle, because he's the one who's always going to make it rich really quick. And every single time he opens his mouth, he's like, "I got a great idea," and we're like, "Oh no, not again! Like, please stop having ideas because they're always terrible."
Yeah.
He's like the kind that thinks that he's going to go and get a whole bunch of like knockoff perfume and like put it in smaller bottles and sell it off as if it's the real thing. And you're like, that's illegal.
Right.
You can't do that. And he's like, no, it'll be fine because they're still getting the smell. And you're like, that is not the point at all. Like, you can't do that. You just can't. And that's all that he does, which feels a lot like this particular individual. He says Gary is his name.
Yeah, Gary.
Yeah.
Duba. Gary Duba, like tuba. He's something else, right? But obviously, when you're writing a story, what you're trying to do is push people's emotions around and sort of redeem the character. So there he has a heart of gold, but he's got a bad temper. But we're going to figure, obviously within this sort of first graphic novel, we're going to give you a good idea who Gary is, what he tries to do, and then you're going to kind of fall in love with Gary because he does have a good quality to him.
Yeah, I feel like, this almost feels a little bit like My Name is Earl, too, where like he has to go and like apologize to everybody and it never goes well.
Right. It's kind of, because this is sort of a Rube Goldberg. And so as we go, we end up, the ball starts moving. Gary's got an idea. He tries to execute it. That creates all kinds of trouble for him. Now he's got to execute an idea just to get himself out of jail. Then, how do we recuperate our losses? Well, we got another idea. So yeah, it's very much that kind of machine that gets going.
Oh my goodness! That by the way, this is my favorite right here. Is his face where he's just like, "Oh my!" like as Gary's getting choked out.
Because the guy who's in the room with this prostitute, this trans prostitute, actually runs out with his clothes in hand. So his reaction is to what you're going to see sort of on the next page, like, oh Lord, this guy just came out without his clothes on. So it kind of, I'm leading you that way. And this is one of my favorite pages that I really thought I'd have a lot of trouble with as far as execution.
Yeah, no, I love the facial expression because that's 1,000% that like, oh my, like, oh no.
Actually, this is a character called Lyle that I added because I felt like this scene, which played really kind of flat as far as Gary's tasked by a lawyer. Mm-hmm. If he wants to get Crystal out, Crystal's his girlfriend. If he wants to get her out, and he doesn't have any money because it didn't work out selling his Barry Bonds rookie card, then do this for me and I will do this for you, so to speak. So he's been tasked with going to get these pictures of this character and what he's nefariously doing with this prostitute. So the scene with just Gary sneaking up to the window and then a cast of the shadow being cast into the room just really didn't carry the weight. So I added Lyle and had to sort of insert Lyle as a friend who tags along. Lyle is the one that really carries the whole weight of this whole scene as far as what's going on. I mean, all the reaction. Look, he's putting his ear up to the with a glass.
Like, he's legit, and it's a slat window. Like, you can probably just hear, but he's like, no, I need the cup. It'll help.
So he's really where all the comedic weight is placed on him.
I love it. I really do. It's like I said, it's very My Name is Earl. It really reminds me because Earl is always going around with his brother, or he's going around with his ex-wife's new boyfriend. Mm-hmm. And Earl's always like the straight man that's like, no, I just need to do this. And they're always the ones that like show just how ridiculous what he thinks he's doing is, which is perfect. Also, this hands on the hips, like the hell are you doing out here for this trans prostitute is hilarious.
Yeah.
Especially the throat grab immediately after that. Like this whole thing, this whole page is gold. It's comedic gold. I love it. Yeah, and the house suspenders. Like I said, very much like the uncle that I know. He's got a very nice door, though, you know, for his house needing house suspenders.
Well, yeah, the house suspenders isn't really the worst idea. Actually, the house suspenders idea is actually not that bad comparatively, but I don't know that people would want to do that, you know, to keep their trailers down. But we've seen what happens when a hurricane comes through and takes a big chunk out of a trailer park.
Yeah, absolutely. Especially when you have your said trailer in someplace like Hurricane Valley or anything like that, where it's like, it's literally what it's named for.
So I gotta ask the question: is that a raptor in the background?
No, that is Hugin, and he is an asshole. That is my Eclectus. So he's throwing a fit because he wants to come and play, and I won't let him because I'm streaming, and so he's just gonna scream through the whole time.
Does he do this often when you stream?
Yeah.
He kind of knows. Uh-oh, the camera's on.
Yeah, between him and my jerk dog that I was fighting with earlier, who was like, "Oh, you're streaming, perfect time to get into every bag and box and thing I'm not supposed to get in right now."
Now this bird, does it play nice if you were to say, "Hey, come sit on my shoulder while I do the show"? Would it just chill, or?
He would. The funny thing is he's green, so he would green screen out with my green screen.
Oh,
so you would see a beak and an eye.
Nice.
Yeah,
it's spooky.
Super creepy. But no, he, like, a lot of the time he'll come and sit on my shoulder while I'm streaming if I don't have this up and I just have my regular background.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, he's kind of a jerk because he absolutely knows what he's doing. He's just being a total dick. He also does this at 6 a.m. when he's decided I've slept enough, no matter what time I went to bed, because he wants sleep, or he wants food.
Yeah,
and that's more important than my sleep.
He's got a really unique screech.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. The best part is he's teaching the other little one next to him to do the same thing. It's an Indian ringneck, and they do not sound like him, but he is learning because my bird is a jerk. It's fun. Give me 1 second. I'm gonna go handle him, and I'll be right back. Feel free to talk more about Florida Man while I'm gone.
Okay, I'll do that. Anyone watching, if you haven't heard of Florida Man, because this is sort of a new audience for me, hopefully you're liking what you see, and obviously, regardless, go check the video. Let the video speak for itself, and then look around, poke around. We have some great tiers, and I'll talk about those in a while. But here's my thing about comics books and Comicsgate and that whole thing. You see, there's no let up, right? This whole week, since the Whisper Network story came out, this leading past that and coming into this week, all we've had is people who are very nervous. They're scared. They see the money that we're making. Even a small project like this, a first timer, so to speak. I did Graveyard Shift 2 with John Malin, but they're seeing something, and they're seeing where their money's going, where it's drying up, and it's not any fault to them as far as like companies and pandemic and stuff. It is their fault as far as entertainment. If you can't engage your customer right and write an entertaining story, then you kind of deserve to fail. But we are seeing sort of this hard press by them to really reach out and say, "Oh, this is a hate group." And come on, we're talking about a guy who, from his YouTube channel, called a few people names. There's no hate here. It wasn't the best moment for CG, but beyond that, it's just, look, we're creators, we're making books, we're having fun. All that aside, names, I get called names all the time. Do I start labeling people Marxists and stuff like that? No, it's just, I just deal with whatever it is. So you come out of this whole Whisper Network thing. Now there's a huge fear because part 2 is about to drop. Look, if you're not even familiar with that, you kind of blew off the first one. It's like, it's a bunch of women and they have their own sewing circle. Wait till you see part 2. Wait till you read what's going on. So, you know what? It is kind of a culture war, right? It's kind of what we're over here going, just for a year, they left us alone. For a whole year, they decided, you know what? This fight is useless. Let's just make good comics. But this is a period in their lives, in their industry, in sort of the industry that they find themselves in, that is dissolving in front of them. So they're going to fight in tooth and nail for jobs that they want to protect, while we're over here doing the best we can, just trying to make comics. We're not promoting hate. We don't fight hate with hate. So it's just really bizarre to me. So back comics, back the CG campaigns, go on both Kickstarter and Indiegogo. Go look for something you like. If you really want escapism and something new, and you really want to be grabbed by the throat and pulled around the narrative, back Florida Man. But doesn't mean go look at a lot of comics, and just decide what you like.
That's well said. You have a lunchbox. Sorry, that's awesome. That is something, and we don't. The way that this channel normally fights back against all of that drama.
Is that me?
Okay.
It was you. I thought it was me.
No, my internet, I get randomly throttled because apparently paying for all of the high-speed internet that I possibly can is not enough. So, okay. I don't even know what you heard that I said, so I'm just going to roll straight past it. But
I'm kind of interested how you said you were about to say how we deal with it here.
Yeah. So the way that we deal with it on Red Valkyrie, right, is we don't talk about the drama, and when people try to bring it over here, like I've had people that have tried to kick up in our chat, I've had people that have tried to I've got people that hate me that literally will stalk my channel to downvote me or whatever they've got to do. In fact, I was five away from hitting monetization earlier today, and now I'm 30. So I have people who have subbed to me on sock accounts to unsub from me right as I get close to that milestone. I've got a lot of like really stupid little haters.
Wow.
And I had somebody dox my real name in chat and all that, and I'm just like, I no longer care. I really don't, because you're not going to get me, and we don't do drama here. So if people bring it here, we kick them, we get them away, because what we're focused on is good books, good creators, writers, and making people better. That's what we care about. I don't care about your political leanings. I don't care about where your sexual preferences or how you identify. I don't care about any of that. Do you make good books? Do you treat people well? And do you put out a quality product? And are you generally not a piece of shit? Like that's pretty much what I care about. Everything else is that's just you. And there's plenty of people I don't agree with that I've backed a lot of their books because I love their work, and the disagreements don't matter because I'm an adult. But yeah, there's a lot of just ridiculous hate that comes on sometimes. And so the way that we handle it is we do our own thing and we tell everyone else to go fuck off.
What you got to hope for ultimately is sort of this pendulum swings back on all this stuff, just ethers out and just becomes part of the air. Mm-hmm. Because as you know, it's a silly thing to point to one incident where there was some name calling and then be like, oh, that's you're connected, so that's silly, absolutely silly.
So the thing that has always bothered me, and I have said this plenty on this show, real quick before I get into it, Ignition, thank you, yes, and thank you for subbing. You are awesome. I appreciate you. You guys are amazing.
That's me.
Yay! I love it. Okay, so the thing that I want, yes, genuine. I don't care about politics. I just want good comics because I'm very hateful. This is very true. It's just can't even remember what I was gonna say. It's so frustrating because I just got into an argument with somebody earlier about this. Apparently, we're all racist, misogynist, and there's no diversity whatsoever. So I don't exist. I literally don't exist as far as everybody, all the antis are concerned, because I'm a female who has a voice, who, you know, has a seat at the table, however you want to put it. Therefore, I either don't exist or I'm brainwashed by the patriarchy. Those are the only two possible options. I can't be a human being, and I only matter as far as you can push the fact that I am female, which is insanely offensive. And it's actually more offensive than anything that anyone else could do. I get called names all the time. I'm a 6'1" female. I've been tall my whole life. Like, my mother taught me something when I was about 8. And what she taught me at 8 was words can only hurt you if you give them power. So if you were to come to me and say, you're nothing but a stupid bitch, the only way that that's going to hurt me is if I care what you think. If I don't care what you think, you literally just said words. You could have said gobbledygook and it wouldn't have mattered. But the second I say, well, that hurt my feelings, why are you giving all of these people power over you if you don't like them? If you don't like them, you don't agree with them, and you don't respect them, why are you giving them power over you? It just has never made sense to me. I learned that at 8 years old. I don't understand how grown-ass adults can't figure that out. Oh, you're muted.
It's weird because I feel the same way as far as who I let occupy space in my head. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
It's just that same thing. Like, it's like a bill, right? You know what's in the mailbox. You go grab it. You bring it in. You could open and fret about it until the day you pay it, or you know, because you already know what's in there, right? Mm-hmm. It's a bill that comes monthly. So I just wait until it's time to pay it. Open it. Boom. There we go. So it's that same kind of thinking. You know, what are you going to let occupy space in your head? You have a job to do, and my job is to entertain you. You know, as an artist. So,
exactly.
You know, I focus in on that. Granted, I'm not saying I don't get involved, because I push other creators and I'm always retweeting and stuff. So it doesn't mean I don't have a comment or a hot take that I want to say at that moment. But when someone comes back at me and go, oh, you're one of those guys? Oh, I go, prove it. Prove it. Find me the quote or whatever that shows you that I'm a hate guy or anyone else is a hate guy, because it was just name calling and it's silly.
Well, and seriously, what happened to sticks and stones? Like, seriously.
Mm-hmm.
Sticks and stones may break my bones, but names will never hurt me. What happened to that? I grew up with that. Because I remember I had boys that called me nicknames and mean little, like, whatever. They used to call me a little boy because my mom got my hair cut like a little boy at one point. And they were like, oh, look, you're just running around like a boy. And so I pushed one of them to the ground and sat on him, and I threw my shoe at the other one. They both went home and told their mom. My mom almost beat the shit out of me. She was like, words cannot hurt you unless you let them, but physical violence is never the answer.
Mm-hmm.
I learned that as a child, and these are grown-ass adults that are saying, you called me something mean, so I'm going to hit you with a brick. What in the world is wrong with the entirety of the fucking universe right now? Like, how is that an appropriate response? I've never understood that. It's the most ridiculous thing in the world to me.
It is a very, very weird time.
It is.
I cannot believe we're still rioting. I cannot believe we're allowing people to damage federal property. That's actually a felony. So I'm really shocked at kind of what's going on. But I do know that I do get a little bit of back channel from the entertainment industry. They're now going, hey, there's a toxicity to letting these people come in. They may do more harm than good. So start vetting. And sort of in human resources in the entertainment industry, they're vetting who they allow to come in now. They don't want, they realize it's either we go broke or we just start realize, this whole thing to do it as an agenda to get this person and that person because they tick a few boxes. Those boxes may hurt us more than help us. So it's starting to change in that way. I just wonder when the whole social media climate will kind of change, and we'll realize you shouldn't be trying to take food off anybody's table.
Well, and like I said, the way that I just kind of look at it is I'm going to ignore them like I did when they were children that were picking on me and they would say mean things, because the reason that they respond so much is because you feed into it and then it becomes a game. So people say or do whatever they're going to say or do. I'm going to keep doing what I do. I'm going to enjoy my show. I'm going to enjoy ridiculously awesome campaigns like the absolutely hilarious Florida Man. And it's either going to work or not. If I end up never getting monetized, and I've said this from day one, if I never end up monetized, I'm still going to do this channel as much as I can. Monetization means that I can do more with it. That's really all that it means. But I do this for as long as it is fun, for as long as I am able. I work 2 jobs and I sacrifice sleep and I sacrifice time and I sacrifice money to come and do these things because I believe in it, because I have fun with it. And I like giving creators a platform, and I don't bring anything on my show that I don't personally like or wouldn't back myself.
Mm-hmm.
And we've done that since day one. And that's what we will keep doing, whether we're monetized or not, whether people like us or not. As long as I still am having fun and there are still people who seem to be enjoying it, I'll keep doing it.
Awesome.
So to get back to Florida, man, after getting a little serious, but I mean, it's some stuff that does, sometimes need to be said for sure. You have a lot of awesome tiers. I was looking them over earlier, and I'm super bummed because I know what tier I want to back at, and I know what my bank account looks like right now. So I know what tier I can't back at yet. So I'm hoping you guys are going to be going in demand because you only have 7 days left, right?
Right. And we will be in demand. So
okay, good.
Don't fret if there's a particular you back at, by the way, you can back at any tier.
Mm-hmm.
And any of these things that you see are you can add them on.
Ooh.
There's even things you can't see that once you pick your perk, like you want to buy in it. Yeah, you can, if you want a second physical copy or
I feel like you need a Florida Man logo beer opener. Like, I feel like that is so wonderfully on target for your brand.
There was a lot of talk of that as far as anything that we can fit into a Gemini mailer is obviously fair game. But there was some talk about that because if someone got sort of the not mailbox, but the lunchbox, well, there's things, we could roll the t-shirt up, put that in there. You can put a keychain in there. We thought about little tchotchke alligators that would be keychains, things like that. So this is just the first of many of the ideas that we had when we kind of broke this campaign down. And it just was just a start. Now, a lot of these tiers, like for instance, it costs a lot of money to make a beach towel, so these margins are very thin. Obviously, they get a little bit better as you get to a certain number, but it's not a tier to make money. It's basically, if you bought in that tier, it's really thin there. We're trying to get the book to you, and we're making a decent quality product, and really the margin for anything as far as the graphic novel goes, when you're doing it yourself, the margin's there, in the book itself.
Right.
What it costs to print, and then versus, what you're getting for it and stuff.
Right. Well, let's go over your tiers, because there is a lot of really fun things that you guys are offering that makes me really excited to see. So you've got your feature tier. Go ahead and tell us all about it.
The Beach Party bundle is the whole kit and caboodle. It's everything. It's the towel, t-shirt, lunchbox, physical copy, digital copy, postcards. It's everything. And that's, when you're doing crowdfunding comics, you're doing something different. Granted, I don't believe in sort of funding floppies. That's just, I want you to have a book that goes on your shelf. I want shelf space. That's number one. I want you to love this so much that it takes up shelf space, and that makes me happy. Number two is, this is an event. You know, we're not really crowdfunding comics as much as we're crowdfunding sort of that veil that you break between the creators and your audience, who you engage, your consumer. So this is more an event in that sense that it's not just comics we're selling. You know, we're doing these YouTubes and inviting engagement and
Right.
getting out there, making my own promo post. I don't know if you've seen any of them, but I've put the logo. Anyone that's wearing a black T-shirt, it's so easy to do, to just take your PNG and stick it
Yeah.
over a shirt. So, you know, or anyone holding up a book like Justin Trudeau, you know, who's holding up a book, I just put our book on there.
Yep.
That's so simple. And so I've done a lot of that in the very beginning. I slowed down a little bit, just because the heat is sort of on me to keep a certain schedule as far as pages go. So
Right.
I kind of slowed on my own marketing for the book, but it's all stuff that, you know, personally I like to do. It's fun. You get some engagement, and that's what this is really about. So it's beyond just the comic. You know, I know there's always this talk of, oh, build your audience through a YouTube channel. And I don't think you need to do that so much as getting onto YouTube and getting on other people's channels, and then
Right.
just realizing that everyone that's there is a possible consumer, and you're basically on here, and I'm going to try to twist your arm until you go, all right, I do it, I'll get it, I'll back it, and then the job is on, right? Because now, like for instance, we're at I don't know where we're at, 574 backers.
473.
473. So that's the most important number there, is the backers. Absolute most important number. Because now what I have to execute is, well, one, Mike Barron's saying you're going to laugh out loud. So make sure I execute all the beats in the comic. Two,
Mhm.
I make you happy. Now, we had a lot of backers that happened through an incident that happened with Chris Brawley and Reddit canceled us, or banned. Actually, they've banned every CG thing on there. So in
Yeah.
the comic book subreddit, you can't promote a CG book. But anyway, we got banned. Chris got banned from that Reddit for good, and that sort of led to, hey, you can't do this. This is Mike Barron, you know. And so a bunch of people picked up on it, and they made those little expose videos where they kind of go over what happened and the talking points and stuff. And
Mhm.
then that helped. It really gave us a huge number. So I look at that number, right, Shae, and I go, those are people that backed because they heard you're trying to censor these guys.
Mhm.
So I have to hook them. The best thing that I could do is go look and see who backed in those days, and then see when we do number two, if I retain those people, because those people might have backed sort of like a spite back, or you're not going to do that to us in America. You're not going
Right.
to censorship us, you Chinese website or whatever. So my job is to look at who did that, keep all the customers happy, but see if I can retain those people.
Yeah, because then those are people you've truly converted.
Hmm. And I threw
Uh,
them a surprise, and they were happy for it.
yeah,
And we executed on the book, and they go, wow, this is something, and I'll stay with it.
absolutely. Well, I think that that's what everybody is kind of shooting for, is making sure that you can retain your customer base and give them something that makes them want to come back for book 2, book 3, book 4. Um, or even project 2, 3, and 4 that aren't necessarily related but that are still from you because they remember your last one and they want to see what more you have.
Right.
Yeah, so that the 150 gets you a lot. You also get your name in, so I know that some people feel like that's cheesy. Personally, I'm not gonna lie, I like it, especially because a couple of times it's happened for me. It's actually been a surprise. Like, I wasn't aware until I got my copy of the book, and it was like, "Oh, whose name is this?" I was like, "Oh, why did you put my name in? I'm so happy now." So now those are ones that I'm like treasuring forever, that will never ever leave my possession. But this is really cool, and I like the idea of thanking your backers, especially if you have backers that have backed at such a high tier, because it is a gamble for a lot of people, and it is expensive, especially looking at CG, how many books there are out there and how amazing some of these books really are. pricey. I think I've got 25 pages on my contributions list of stuff that
Wow.
I've backed, and I added it up one day. And don't ever do that. Don't ever add them up, because I added it up and then I almost cried and was like, oh my gosh, I could have taken a cruise. I was like, it's okay. It was for a good cause.
Right. Basically it is. And as long as these are things that you enjoy, you read them, obviously you have a YouTube platform, maybe somewhere down the line you go, you know what, a Florida Man came today and I read it and it was fantastic. That's the hope, right? So I might be here today, but that day will just be you, and you open up your show and you're like, man, what a surprise. And every one of these books that grabs you like that, then people start to go, you know what? There's more here than meets the eye. We're not doing mainstream because we don't like it. We're doing these books because we have control over them, and we can go our own way, and we can you kind of you're on a ship and you're doing all the rowing. You're the machine. I got to be the boiler room. I'm doing my own marketing. So it's not that I wouldn't want those things or go that route. This is the route we choose to go because we know that Florida Man's a different kind of book. Doesn't really slot into the superhero genre. The market is in huge flux right now. The industry is kind of in chaos, I'd say. And you know what? We know that people still want escapism, and we know there's a fan base out there for quality books. Absolutely. So as long as we get the eyes on the book, and then people go, you know what, let's give Florida Man a try. Florida Man is going to make you laugh out loud. I really cerebrally am drawing this book to make sure it hits certain beats, and make sure that we sort of make good on our promises.
Absolutely. I completely agree. And it's hard to judge a book by the Indiegogo campaign alone, because usually art is still being done. You're getting pages, but probably out of order. So there's no spoilers and things like that. So it's difficult to kind of judge a book. That being said, like I said, 25 pages of contributions. A lot of those have been fulfilled. A lot of books I've had a lot of books that I was really excited for that I read and I went, oh, and I was like, not quite what I wanted. I have had 1 or 2 books that I read and went, oof, that was a rough one. And then I had a couple books that I backed because I was like, yeah, it could be fun. And ended up reading them and was like, oh my gosh, this was amazing. This was so, so good. And it completely exceeded my expectations. So I'm getting to a point where I'm starting to be able to I have a barometer where I can see through a lot of Indiegogo pages what books are probably going to really catch me and what books it's like, this is a pretty big gamble and it may not work for me. Florida Man, I absolutely plan on backing, and I plan on at least having 2 copies because my co-host has to read this. Being somebody from Florida, they have to have it in their possession because I think it's hilarious. And it seems like it's legitimately going to be funny, especially the way that you guys have done your trailer and everything that shows a lot of personality, and having all of those talents working on this project. I would be shocked if this wasn't an actual funny comic. Like I would genuinely have to go in and analyze where it broke down if it wasn't funny. Because you seem like you've got a perfect crew.
I can show you a page that is like 95% done. A current page that I'm working on. So the beat here, there's this. Floyd is basically peeing, and this raccoon is getting a free show. So there's the beat. There's the comedic beat, and he, whether he says what I put there or what he says, what's in the script, or I'm sure Mike will change it and have it hit that beat, because really it was supposed to be, it was written that Floyd is surprised by rabid raccoon. And I'm like, these guys live with gators. He's not going to be surprised. This raccoon has probably been seen before on the property. So I made him react this way, because to me that hit the beat that it needed. And he's like, look, creepo, this isn't a free show kind of a thing,
So look, I don't know how many people have had run-ins with raccoons. They are fat, little like ridiculous creatures. We had a raccoon when I was in Monterey. So I'm military. I was stationed in Monterey for a while, and there's raccoons everywhere in Monterey. They're all fat. They live off of whatever's discarded off the boardwalk, which is always like super buttery, super sugary food. So that's what they eat. When I say they're fat, they're really fat. We had 2 raccoons that were stealing my dog's food, and they were climbing the fence, and it was the most human maneuver ever. They would stand on the top and put their little paws down, and they'd kick one of their fat legs over, and then they'd kick their other fat leg over, and then they'd hold on to the other side, and they start climbing their way down. So they were stealing my dog's food, and we scare them away, and we're like, go on, get out of here. And so he climbs back over to the top, and he put one leg over, so he's straddling the top, and he looks, and he was like, are they gone? I was like, go away. And he's like, damn, she's still there. So then he puts the other leg over, and he drops down, and he like dropped his head, and he sat there for a second, and then he pops his head back up to see if we've gone away yet. And so since we hadn't, we yelled at him again. So he finally climbs all the way down, and you just see this little tiny arm go underneath the gate, and he's doing this, and he's trying to see if he can grab one more piece of food for the road. Raccoons are hilarious. And so this isn't a free show, buddy, is a perfect example of that's exactly what I would be saying to a raccoon, because I know them. They're ridiculous little mischievous jerks. They're hilarious.
This page is 95% done, and obviously what ends up happening is Floyd, who now has his zipper down, now sees his raccoon. Raccoon stands up and hisses at him. Florida raccoons, by the way, are a little bit thinner. They're not as cuddly. They have a little bit like a medium-sized dog body, but he's gonna take a shot at him because now he's like, he sees that he's rabid.
Yeah.
He sees the foam when he opens up his mouth, and he's like, uh-oh, let me get rid of you. And he misses. So hijinks, his pants are undone. Where do you think his pants might go if he take a shot and all that vibration of taking a shot? So we might have another slip and fall, which we've already had on page 2. So, we're pulling off. It's situational comedy, and it's up to me to make you laugh, and I'm going to do the best I can.
Oh my gosh, that's perfect. That's perfect. All right, let's finish going through your tiers. So you have the $150 kit and caboodle, you get everything. Or for $25, you can get just the main print, and you're doing premium bound. That's not the same as perfect bound, is it?
Geez, I don't know the difference.
Bound?
Well, it is square. No, this is square bound. Oh, I was really for that. Like one of the things I push for. Okay. Because again, I want to occupy space on your shelf. What's occupying right in front of me is things like Craven's Last Hunt, the hardcover, stuff like that. That's where I want this to go. Kind of the way I'm thinking is I want people to get an experience that a keepsake. A graphic novel is I have plenty of them right here in front of me, and they're really where my purchase money goes.
That makes perfect sense, and it's easier to see books if you have one that's bigger, that is square bound, so you can actually see the spine and you can see what it says on it, as opposed to I've got I don't know how many floppies, and it takes the amount of times that I've tried to find a floppy that I have, and I'm just like I quit. It's in there somewhere. Like I don't know. There's hundreds. I've given up. It's in one of my 3 boxes. That's what I know. I
buy graphic novels and trades.
Yeah,
I mean, not that I don't read floppies digitally, whatever. I think Once and Future is one of the really good books out there right now. One of my favorites. But Velvet. I don't know if you ever read Velvet.
Not.
Master class in comics. Black Monday Murders. Another master class in comics. So Velvet is by Ed Brubaker and Steve Epting. Okay. And the other one that I mentioned is who is it? Matt Fraction. Oh man, I forget. But those are these are books that, I mean, currently the books that come out in Eternity to Seven to Eternity isn't on any kind of regular schedule. Not sure why. Maybe it's the pandemic. But A Seven to Eternity, amazing book. That's Rick Remender and Jerome Opina. Top-notch book. Black Science was a great book. So it's not like I don't read, but then I wait. I wait.
You wait until they're collected.
Right, because I want it for my shelf. I'm not putting anything in boxes anymore. That whole game is done.
Yeah, I mean, I got a really nice hard box that I got from IDW, which is amazing. So I'm happy with that. But now I have a long box that's falling apart, and I'm like, just like, I hate having clutter everywhere, and I'm currently surrounded by it. It's horrible. All right, for $50, Florida Man autographed. What all are we getting with this?
That's the hardcover. I mean the graphic novel, digital postcards signed by me and Mike.
Are the postcards all the same?
No.
Or is it 5 different images?
It'll be 5 different images. One of these, the one that you're seeing, was an exclusive for early sign up. Doesn't mean it won't. I don't know. I mean, a lot of people really like that postcard.
It's
and
perfect.
A lot of people actually have asked, hey, is that going to be one of the right when we put it up, it was meant for the exclusive people who were willing to sign up early and then who came back and backed the campaign. So we'll have to see. Maybe there's some way to have 2 versions of it. I have a version of it that has sort of that red and blue border that postcards used to have and things like that. So it's an image that really everyone likes, and it's
well, because it's the best possible take on the Coppertone baby,
right?
Just with a buxom young lady and a fucking gator. Like, it's not a cute little baby and a dog. It's a little bit more severe. Sweet. Then there's a retailer bundle for $100. You get 6 copies, which is awesome. And
yeah, this is a tough time for retailers.
Yeah.
We even put it, I compiled a list of all the Florida retailers that I could get an email for. Now, sometimes you would go and sort of go through like a Google of who they were, find out that they had a Facebook page. On a Facebook page, they have an email. So I took, it was like 8 hours it took me to do this, and I compiled as many emails as I could so that we could send out actually a special. If you're in Florida, if you back the book, you can get it in at this price. We want to help you out. We know you're having trouble. Let's get this book into your stores.
That's
so
awesome.
every Florida store got that email that was willing to give you because a lot of times it's hard to find an email. And so anyone that I could, I made sure, because I lived in Florida, and there was a few stores that I was really, I had a kinship with and stuff like that. And Mark Gallo owns Past, Present, Future Comics in the West Palm area. And so I really wanted to give back to those guys that are hurting. So we gave them basically what the discount that they would get if they went through Diamond. It's the same kind of discounted rate.
Oh, nice. How many people, how many of the shops that you hit up have like taken you up on that?
Only one.
That's it?
Yeah.
That's a bummer.
It is. Because I really reached out. I mean, I put things on their messages. I put us on their community, because everyone that has a business has a community page. So they make their own posts that you would see when you go to it. But if you wanted to post there, it ends up on their community page. So I was just letting them know, like, we know you're hurting, and we hope you'll back Florida Man. There's some other things we're giving them if they are willing to. Right. And it's more of a point of service kind of a thing that they can use to say, hey, we got this here, exclusively, yada, yada, yada. So, it is one of those things.
Yeah. No, I understand where you're coming from. It's frustrating, but I think that there's such a weird narrative that goes around. So many people are just kind of like just gonna back away from all of it. Like I just don't know about any of it. So but this is something that I would love to see at my local comic book shop. Mine just closed down, so unfortunately. All right, so you have one more tier. This is your $1,200 tier. So this is your cameo.
Now, I made a contest before I ever came on here, Shae, and here was the contest.
Okay.
If this started, I think it was last Sunday or Monday, if we could get to 600 backers by the time I came on your show, I was actually going to raffle these off. That would be two $1,200 tiers that I was going to give away to random numbers that I would generate with my phone, because I really wanted these to go. I don't want to just put anybody in there, right? At this tier, I wanted them to go. I'd really like them to be purchased by people who want to be in the book. Because one thing, this isn't a one-time thing. You're only going to be seen. You're wrestler. You're the valet. Your wrestler has an entrance, so you get that with your wrestler, right? You get your walk down to the ring. Then you end up ringside, so you'll be seen. Like you're looking over the mat and you're cheering your wrestler on or whatever. Right. There might be a moment where one of you managers pulls the leg of the other wrestler as he's coming off the ropes, and she goes face first into the mat. So this is not a cameo.
Not a one-off, yeah.
No, this actually might end up being. It's right now. It's like 6 pages, but I'm thinking of pushing this to 8 pages because there's a lot of other people that are going to be in the crowd scene. That have helped out the campaign. Mm-hmm. And I said, I'll put you in the crowd. And so I really was like, the scene is obviously a choreographed fight. There'll be, you'll see some in-ring action, then you'll go and you'll see some crowd reaction to whatever, what just happened. So it is definitely not a cameo. I really was hoping somebody would buy in this tier, because you want that kind of a tier to go to somebody who wants to be in the book and knows they're going to be. I was willing to pick out their outfit. Like, we'll work on an outfit together. You want to come in looking like a pimp, a big fuzzy hat, or you want to come in looking like, the character that she's fighting is Rock Lobster. So maybe you have some kind of rock themed tuxedo, or a lobster themed tuxedo or something. I really wanted to do this right. So it's those things are still available. We didn't get to 600 backers. I was really hoping to raffle these off on your show, but I may do it again. There's 7 days left.
Okay.
And maybe I can do another. Maybe my benchmark was a little too high. I don't know, but I really would just like people who want to be in the book, who see themselves as somebody who likes wrestling, who remembers Lou Albano and Classy Freddie Blassie and the Grand Wizard of Wrestling, because this is what I was kind of going for, those retro managers that were a little bit more colorful than just having a babe on your arm who goes to the ring with you, or vice versa, or like a Paul Heyman who's just in a suit and he's just the mouth for Brock Lesnar. I wanted something a little bit more colorful. Then I also was thinking, just to give a little bit away, maybe I can entice somebody who really like to come in at this tier, is there's a fight that happens while the fight's in the ring. Is you see one manager pulling the other manager's hair, if it's 2 women or something like that. You'd see a little bit more action going on, and I can get the managers involved. I really wanted to do something like that, and I still will, as long as somebody wants to get in on that tier. So this is no cameo. This is way more than a cameo.
So this is like a mini role for a minute in the book. That's awesome. I agree with Chris. I wish I had $1,200 because that'd be epic. That'd be super cool. Especially being a ladies wrestling valet as a chick would be hilarious. But yeah, I'm hoping that somebody will get into this, because that's amazing. That is something that's really kind of a fun thing when you see yourself in a comic, and especially if you see yourself and it's not just one panel, like you're a consistent character. That's something that's really, really special. So hopefully we can get somebody with some eyes on it to get in on that tier, because that I think that what you're planning on doing is above and beyond what most people do at that level.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, Dang, that's so cool. And then the wrestling referee, that's already been taken.
Yeah.
So,
And so that's anytime there's in-ring action, you'll either have a partial view of that ref or a full view, or he's down on the mat, looking to see if your shoulder's up or whatever it may be. That's definitely another role that gets in there quite a bit.
That is freaking epic. So you've got 7 days left of the active campaign, and then you're going in demand. Do you know about how long you're going to be in demand before you guys wrap up, or is it just while you're working on it, and when you're done and able to go to print?
Well, we are going to do it for until we get to a point where we have to close it and you have a final number, but you also can't stay in demand. Like I think you can only be in there, like if you don't get any backers within 6 months or something, then you're automatically closed. But I may have the number wrong, but it closes on its own if you don't have any movement.
Right. Okay. So there's still time to get in on this, but obviously if you're going to want to guarantee that you're going to get this, you got 7 days before you're going to start kind of gambling, because it'll depend on how quick Todd is producing art. if he gets it moving and then they don't get backers, I mean, make sure you get it now.
As far as how fast I am, I'm faster than I'm being, but there's something about this that's really causing me to. It's like when how do I put it? You don't want to F up this opportunity.
You're being very methodical.
Yeah, you have an opportunity, like you said, whether it's taking these, 400 some odd people with you to the next thing or the second book or whatever. I have a job to do, and not only do I have the pressure on me because Mike is telling you're gonna laugh out loud, and I'm like, oh crap, I'm the one that has to execute that, because it's really not. It's not puns, it's not one-liners, and it's not punchlines. It's really the execution of the moment and finding that beat and going, what works here? How do I do this? How do I pull this off? And then, it might require a change of dialogue, so the dialogue helps the moment. But in a situation like a guy going into a convenience store with an alligator, granted, he may be holding it like it's an AK-47 and the alligator's going to shoot out something at you. Well, you got to pull that off. And the way to do that is the reaction of the clerk, the patrons, people taking duck and cover kind of thing. And there's your moment. So I'm taking all this sort of, cerebral approach to this to make sure what's important on this page. I got to tell this story. I know what the words are. I know what needs to happen.
Right.
But where's the beat? Where's the one beat that makes this page sing and create a moment? Or even if it's not a laugh out loud moment, maybe it's a moment of a remorse or something like that. I got to find that. You always got to find that and compose your page. You want to keep eye flow is important. So I deconstruct the page. I do it all in pieces, and then I put it all together and make sure maybe this needs to be flopped and this needs to be, twisted or whatever, and find out, I basically have a hard time thinking if I don't execute this, then that could be it. So I'm always thinking I have to do, can't fail. I can't fail regardless, because this is something that I'll also use almost like a resume. Hey, I worked with Mike Barron and I pulled this off. Check this out. Just look at the pages. They'll speak for themselves. Even I just recently did a new #1 page, and it was what was always important to Stanley was come into the book knowing who the characters are each time. So you might open up in Spidey's web swinging or locking somebody up with his web, whatever. You know right away, boom, Thor's swinging his hammer, there's a fight, or I'm seeing what's going to go on right away. So I went back and thought about what were these characters doing before they were on this porch where you see the house suspenders, and I thought, okay, they're alligator hunting. It was a long day alligator hunting. So I did an airboat, crystals. You should go look for it. Crystals she's up with one leg up on the edge of the airboat, and she's got a bow and arrow, and it's got cypress trees and a reflection in the water. And I thought, these people will know as soon as they open this book who these characters are.
That is amazing. That is awesome. So this book definitely seems like it is a ton of fun. Something that I think everyone should definitely get in on, just because it's what comics are supposed to be. It's just entertaining as shit. It's supposed to be fun and ridiculous. And I love that you have the kind of throwback lunch pail. I think that that's awesome. I have to get the t-shirt. I'm a t-shirt junkie. I'm a swag junkie. So I love t-shirts, pins, patches. Those are my three big bread and butter. Patches are going on my I actually have a bomber jacket for me and for my co-host that has our logo on the back. And we're
nice.
taking all of these, like I've got the Merry Boys patches right here and stuff. We're taking all of these and we're putting them all on. It's going to be like a kind of like a writer jacket or whatever, but it's all for indie comics.
Now, when you say bomber jacket, because
it's not a traditional bomber. It's the same sort of, like, it has the collar and it has the
fur.
No, it doesn't have a big fur collar. No, it's a cheap one, because mine's red and size is blue to match our channel colors. But
I got you.
I do have actual bomber jackets. I mean, I'm Air Force, so it's easy to get them. But
yeah.
But also, I have like my cosplay ones for Harley Quinn and stuff like that. And eventually, I might do another Red Valkyrie actual bomber jacket. But it was way too hot for me to even entertain that.
In the Northeast, besides bomber jackets, like we're talking about, another jacket they used to put a lot of patches on were the jean jacket.
Yes.
Remember the jean jackets?
Yes, I certainly do. I had many, and I have a few still. Yeah, I do. I have a couple. Because, kid of the 80s, so why not?
Right?
Absolutely. Chris has an interesting suggestion for a splash page. I don't know how much gators hump legs like dogs.
Oh my God, can you imagine the fear you would have if a gator got that close to your leg?
I don't even know what you would do. You'd just be like, just don't bite me. Because, like, I actually, when I was in training, so I was in my training school for my first, like, not technically duty station because it was training, but my roommate was a girl who used to go gator hunting with her dad all the time. And so we had a dorm inspection. She had pictures out of her in the middle of like a gator farm with a giant hunk of meat. And you just saw like 7 or 8 gators, like gigantic ones around her. And she was just smiling, holding the meat. And that was feeding time. And I was like, I can't believe that you were around like 8 gators. And she goes, oh no, I was around like 40. Just 8 were what were in the picture. And I was like, why would you stand in the center of 40 gators with raw meat? And she goes, because I was feeding them. And I was like, okay. And she had pictures of her on top of gators that were like 8 feet long. Just her job was to jump on their head and hold down the mouth while they taped it. So they would pull them in and she would hold down their mouths. And I was like, she get bit? Because I kind of feel like you get bit doing that job. She's like, no.
That's a boss job, I tell you.
If you saw her, she was like this small little petite girl. She didn't seem like she would be able to hack it, but she managed, and she had a lot of pictures that prove that. So,
wow.
We ended up getting talked to because we creeped out the person who came through to do our dorm inspection. He was like, next time I come through, can you please not have all of these pictures out, because that was very unsettling. So that was the new thing that we had to do. But I honestly, I think that this is it just seems like a really fun ride and a really entertaining book. And you obviously have a massive passion for it. You're putting a lot of thought and a lot of love into these pages. So if you are looking for something that is going to be fun, it's going to be funny, that's going to have that care and the detail and all of everything that you should be looking for in a really good comic. This is a comic that you should definitely get on board with. It has amazing swag. I want the beach towel because I want a beach towel of that exact scene. I want to put that out and watch everybody look at me like I'm insane. I think it's going to be amazing. So please go and back Florida Man on Indiegogo. Thank you, Ideas. Thank you, everyone who's been dropping the links in the channel for me. I very much appreciate it. And thank you so much, Todd, for coming out. This has been an absolute blast. This has been really, really fun.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Yeah, anytime. Seriously. And while we're here, please feel free to like, share, and subscribe to Red Valkyrie. We are getting close and then not as close and then close again to monetization. I don't know where we stand right now, but we are under 100. So, hey, that's good. I think we're under 50 still, unless more people unsubbed recently. But definitely, let's get us to our 1K goal. Once we hit that, we're going to have a big party hanging out in October. We're going to give away a whole bunch of comics. We're going to give away a bunch of art. We're going to give away a bunch of fun stuff because that's what we want to do. So make sure that you like, share, and subscribe. Hit that bell for notification. Go and back this epic book. And we will catch you guys all next time. Thank you so much for coming out. See you later.